Hey guys, welcome back. Now, Ethereum FUD levels have not been this high for a long time, as Ethereum's price has been struggling to keep up with the other cryptos. And looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, it shows Ethereum has been losing value against Bitcoin ever since the start of the big crash in 2022 and throughout all of 2023. Now, a big narrative right now is that Ethereum is just old tech and it's going to continue to lose market share until it slowly dies. However, in this video, I'm going to show why it's only a matter of time until we see a big rotation back to Ethereum, giving some huge price moves back to the upside, as Ethereum affirms its dominance once again. And so this video is broken down into two parts. In part one, we'll take a look at why hasn't Ethereum's price been keeping up with Bitcoin and many altcoins. Then we'll check in on Ethereum's fundamentals and see, does it have what it takes for a big comeback? And then in part two, why I think a big rotation is coming next year, which will bring back the narratives like Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin once again. Okay, so first up, it is true that Ethereum has not been keeping pace with Bitcoin and many altcoins. So what is going on? Okay, so let's first answer the question, why is Ethereum not keeping up with everything else at the minute? Well, firstly, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin's price here. And essentially what I'm pointing out is that from about 2022, we had this last massive crypto crash and brutal crypto winter. And this was probably the worst one that crypto has gone through. So this was an extremely painful year for all crypto investors, and Bitcoin went down about peak to trough close to about 77%, and many altcoins got hit even harder. And so when it came to 2023, after people had been burnt so bad, people chose to go back to the safest crypto asset. And the safest crypto asset has been Bitcoin, which is why Bitcoin in this year, 2023, has had an amazing year, because it's been the flight back to safety for people wanting to get back in the crypto market. So that is the very simple answer to why Bitcoin has performed very, very well. Now, when it comes to many of the altcoins, and let's just use Solana as an example, but many of the altcoins have seen a similar pattern. So the crash this time actually hit altcoins much, much harder. So taking a look at Solana from the peak all the way down to this bottom here, it's about 97%. So absolutely crushed. For investors to lose 97%, let's be honest, is absolutely brutal. So now let's take a look at the simple math. So keeping things simple and just working with 100. So if something loses 97% of its value, it would go from 100 down to 3. As you can see, 97%. Now, what's been making big headlines is that many of the altcoins have seen 100% or 200% gains in just the last couple of months. However, all that is, it's like going from 3 back to just 9. And there you have your 200% gain. So investors see this and they're saying, it's altcoin season, my favorite altcoin has gone up 200%, where in reality, all you're doing is going from 3 back to 9. So you're still down by 90%. And this is why it looks like artificially that altcoins are doing amazing. But all it is that when something has been crushed so hard, then getting 100%, 200%, 300% is really not that difficult. And Ethereum's kind of been caught in the middle. It's not really the flight to safety, and it also didn't get hit as hard as many of the altcoins. So it's being caught in this in-between place. So that answers the question, what's been going on with the price, why it hasn't kept pace with Bitcoin, and why it doesn't look like it's keeping pace with altcoins. However, the next big question to answer is, does Ethereum have what it takes to make a big comeback? Now, if we just look at the decentralized finance landscape, and these are the top 10 chains, and it's been sorted by total value locked. And what you'll notice is that Ethereum is number one. It's still the most dominant player in DeFi with almost 30 billion total value locked, and a massive drop between the first and the second being just 8 billion. But then what else you'll notice is that out of the top 10 players, this obviously is Ethereum, but then number 4, Arbitrum, is also Ethereum Layer 2. Number 7, Polygon, also Ethereum sidechain. Number 8, Optimism, also Ethereum Layer 2. And number 10, Base, Layer 2, built on Optimism, also Ethereum. So of the top 10 players in DeFi, 5 of them, half of them are literally Ethereum. So it's still very, very dominant. Moving on. And this is what I call the smart money. So this is the developers, and this is the top 10 chains and their number of full-time developers. And developers, why I call them the smart money, is that they understand the chains. They understand all the different protocols, the technicalities, which us retail investors will just not know to the same degree. So we follow the developers. And what does it say? Ethereum has the most developers, has attracted and kept the most developers by a country mile, almost 2,000 full-time developers. So these guys clearly know something. If Ethereum is just old tech, this wouldn't be the case. Number 2 drops off all the way down to 600. And as you can see, it drops off quite significantly. So the smart money is still choosing Ethereum. Then we look at applications like apps on the App Store. These are dApps because they're decentralized. Now, this is being dominated by BNB, which has over 5,000 applications. But who's coming in at number 2? It's Ethereum with 4,400 applications. And you can see this starts to drop off significantly. As we go down to number 10, only 280. But again, Ethereum also has multiple positions. Not only are they number 2, but they're also number 3. They're also number 8, and no other chain can say the same. Then, the big complaint is that Ethereum is too slow and too expensive, which is why we have all these layer 2s, all these companies and protocols working on scaling Ethereum and making it super fast and super cheap. In fact, there's so many now, I could barely fit them all onto one page. Something, again, which no other layer 1 has to the same degree. So there's lots more I could include, but essentially, to me, Ethereum's fundamentals have never looked stronger. Now, moving on to why I think a big rotation is coming next year. So one of the big things coming in Q1 is another Ethereum upgrade, and this is EIP 4844. And according to JP Morgan, this is going to help Ethereum outperform Bitcoin in 2024. And to keep this super simple, it's really going to benefit all those Ethereum layer 2s, which we looked at. The biggest being Arbitrum and Optimism. And what it's going to do, it's going to give them more scale, so it's going to give them more transactions per second, and it's also going to reduce the cost by up to 5 to 10 times. So it's going to make the layer 2s be on par with many of the other layer 1s. So this is a huge boost coming in Q1 next year. And then the big one, which makes Ethereum stand out over all the other altcoins, was the fact that BlackRock also came out and filed for a spot Ethereum ETF. And as we all know, there's been massive hype with BlackRock and Bitcoin's price has been going crazy over the past couple of months. And then out of all the other altcoins, of which there's now over 1 million, it's only Ethereum that is getting the same treatment. And since then, other companies, including Fidelity, trying to get an Ethereum spot ETF as well. However, this is not just the same as what's happening with Bitcoin, because Ethereum is also going to give investors some very unique and massive benefits over Bitcoin, of there being 3. The first is that Bitcoin, yes, it does have a fixed supply and will cap out at 21 million, but it is still growing right now at about 1.6%. However, Ethereum is not just a fixed supply, but a shrinking supply. So this is a huge point of difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then number 2, going back to the energy usage, one of the biggest complaints that Bitcoin's had is that it uses a massive amount of energy. And if Bitcoin were the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, then in comparison, Ethereum right now on proof of stake is using the energy size of a screw. So you literally put a little screw here, and that is how much energy Ethereum is using over Bitcoin. Now, for us everyday retail investors, we don't really care about energy usage, but guess who does? The massive corporations, the governments, and the institutions. There is a massive spotlight on energy usage. So this is Ethereum's massive benefit number 2. And then number 3 is that unlike Bitcoin, the Ethereum spot ETF will likely give investors a yield as well, close to 4%. And again, for the average retail investor, getting 4% is not that sexy, especially when our assets are going up 5 to 10% in a day. But guess who really likes a 4% yield? Again, it's the massive institutions, the massive corporations, and nation states. And when you're investing billions of dollars, then 4% is a massive, massive benefit. So Ethereum right now is not the chain that is loved by the small retail investor, but it's going to be loved by the big institutions. It is true that Ethereum has not been keeping pace with the rest of the crypto market. Why? Well, Bitcoin's been the flight back to safety after the big crash, and it's really not hard to double an altcoin, which has been crushed by 97%. However, Ethereum's fundamentals have never looked stronger, whether that's the most developers by a country mile, whether it's dominating DeFi, applications, layer 2s, etc. There is a big upgrade coming in Q1 which will further scale the layer 2s and also make them 5 to 10 times cheaper. And the number one thing that Ethereum has over all the other altcoins is the backing of BlackRock and Fidelity, and only Bitcoin can say the same. However, with Ethereum, investors will also get a 99% reduction in energy usage, a nice yield just for holding the asset, and not a fixed supply but a shrinking supply. And finally, the only thing that can really pee on Ethereum's bonfire is some kind of regulation or legislation which will impact DeFi. As Ethereum is the main player, it also has the most to lose. So Ethereum still does have its risks. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Now let me know, do you think Ethereum is just old tech that is going to disappear, or is a big Ethereum rotation coming next year? Let me know below. However, just remember to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments. We are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use SuperThanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.